This is NEM 2015 and I'm talking to Henning Tewes, CEO of RTL Croatia. Welcome to Dubrovnik. You just finished your panel. It was called FTA's Beating the Economic Slump. My obvious first question is, how hard is to do what you do in 2015?
Well, the panel was called Beating the Economic Slump, but of course it's very hard to beat the economic slump. We have to work as TV broadcasters in the macroeconomic climate and environment that's given to us, so we cannot change it. So we need to adapt. So really what we discussed at the panel was, what do you do as a free-to-air broadcaster in a market that's 30, 40, sometimes more % down compared to the height of the market in 2008. And I think there's 2 or 3 things you need to do. Of course, you need to adapt the cost base. So that's something that we discussed, but that's what everybody does. Look at your staff, you look at your overhead, you look at your production costs and so on and so forth, that's clear. But the more interesting thing is, where can you find additional revenue? How can you grow your companies? And that's what we discussed, in particular concerning content and the distribution of our signal, where we see room to grow. We think that we should be paid for our signal by platform operators, which is already the case in a lot of markets, but not all. Is the level right? Maybe not quite as yet. Point 1. Point 2 is, can we export the programs that we have and that work successfully for us? Can we export them to other markets? And that's something where I think we all agree that we need to grow further.
Right. You said we have to find what the audience wants and likes. How hard is that today when you have, obviously you said it yourself, 30% less revenue?
Well, I think it's your creativity does not depend on how much money you have. But the interesting thing with the company I run, RTL, is that in terms of its history, it was built up in 2004 when RTL Group was awarded a license, and as part of the award had to be on the air within 4.5 months. So it was very, very little time to grow the channel, and you still have that childlike enthusiasm for TV, for program in the channel, even 10, 11 years later. A lot of people were in their early 20s when they came to RTL in 2004, and they're now in their early to mid 30s. So they're experienced, but at the same time they're also much more mature professionally than they were. So that's the spirit of the channel. So for us, it's a very exciting time to be in a market that's not declining anymore, but that's flat. Now,
stable. Let's say stable. It sounds better.
Stable. It's stable. At least it doesn't fall anymore. So now is a time for us to grow back to some of the virtues that we had originally, and see how we can find programs that are compelling for the audience.
So you can definitely see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Well, I see it in terms of the advertising market, which is stable, as you would call it, number 1. And I see it because of the resourcefulness of the company is such that you will always find an answer. And some of these answers are very different. For example, we've just launched very successfully a remake of The Wheel of Fortune, Kolo Sreće, as we call it in Croatian. Now, initially we had a debate. Is it right to put an Access Primetime program, game show, into primetime? And we decided that for the summer programming, it would work if it had a prime-timey look and feel to it, and if it was clearly post-millennial rather than a 90s look and feel. And apart from that, the program is successful because it's close to the original. It's not fancy in particular.
It does have a touch screen. It didn't used to.
It didn't used to. So it's a bit more post-millennial than the original version was. But apart from that, it's still very much close to the format. And this shows that you can find solutions if you have the right interest in editorial and creative processes, and if you have the right interest in the audience.
Thank you very much.